The mining station on Kepler 442b was quiet that morning. Most workers were deep underground, pulling rare metals from the planet's core. The surface buildings looked empty, but that was exactly what Captain Gorvek wanted to see. Gorvek was a tall alien with gray skin and 4 arms. His crew called him smart, but today he was making the biggest mistake of his life. He looked through his ship's window at the small research building where his target lived. There, he pointed with one of his clawed fingers. The boy should be in that building. Our spy says the family is rich. They will pay a lot to get their child back. His second-in-command, Teknar, felt worried. Something about this job seemed wrong. The readings from their scanners showed strange things about the humans on this planet. But Gorvek would not listen. "Captain, maybe we should think about this more," Teknar said. "The scanner readings are very unusual." Gorvek laughed and showed his sharp teeth. "You worry too much. Humans are weak. They live on small worlds and have no real weapons. This will be easy money." Down on the planet, 12-year-old Kim Minho was helping his mother organize rock samples. His parents, Lee Do-hyun and Park So-min, were scientists who studied alien rocks and metals. They had been living on this mining world for 2 years. Minho was not like other human children. His parents had taught him about alien technology since he was very young. He could read alien computer systems and understand how their machines worked. His parents thought this knowledge would help him in the future. They had no idea it would save his life today. "Minho, can you help me carry these samples to the lab?" his mother asked. "Sure, Mom," Minho said. He was a small boy with dark hair and smart eyes. He liked learning about the strange rocks his parents found. As they walked to the lab, Minho noticed something in the sky. A ship was coming down, but it was not one of the regular supply ships. This ship looked different. It was black and had weapons on it. "Mom, look at that ship," Minho said. Park So-min looked up and her face became pale. She knew what kind of ship that was. "Minho, run to the emergency room, lock the door and call your father." But it was too late. The alien ship landed, and 6 creatures jumped out. They wore black armor and carried strange weapons. Gorvek was the first to reach the building. "Where is the human child?" Gorvek demanded when he found Park So-min. "There is no child here," she lied, trying to protect her son. Gorvek smiled in a cruel way. "Our spy told us everything. We know you have a son. We know your husband works in the deep mines. We know you are rich scientists." The aliens searched the building quickly. They found Minho hiding in the emergency room, just as his mother had told him to do. The door was locked, but alien weapons could cut through anything. "Please, take me instead," Park So-min begged when they dragged Minho out. "He is just a child." "That is exactly why we want him," Gorvek said. "Parents pay more for children." Minho looked calm, which surprised the aliens. Most children would cry and scream. Instead, Minho watched everything carefully. He was learning about his captors, just like his parents had taught him to study new things. The aliens put Minho in their ship and took off quickly. They did not want to be on the planet when the human father came back from the mines. Inside the ship, Minho sat quietly in a small room. The aliens had put metal bands around his hands, but they were not tight. He could still move his fingers. Slowly, he began to feel the walls and look at the alien technology around him. The ship's computer systems were old, but Minho could understand them. His parents had shown him similar technology before. He began to memorize everything he saw. He would need this information later. Meanwhile, on the planet, Park So-min was calling her husband with tears in her eyes. "Do-hyun, they took Minho," she said into the communication device. "Alien raiders took our son." Lee Do-hyun was a calm man, but when he heard this news, something changed in his voice. "What kind of aliens?" They looked like Vorthak. Gray skin, 4 arms, black armor. There was a long silence. Then Lee Do-hyun spoke in a voice his wife had never heard before. It was cold and dangerous. Call Earth Command. Tell them what happened. Give them all the details about the ship and the aliens. Tell them a human child has been taken. What are you going to do? Park So-min asked. I am going to make some calls of my own, Lee Do-hyun said. These aliens have no idea what they have just done. Back on the alien ship, Gorvek was feeling very happy. The job had been easy, just like he thought it would be. The human child was quiet and gave them no trouble. Soon, they would contact the parents and ask for money. Captain, said Zexhai, one of his crew members, I am still getting strange readings from the boy. Should we check him for hidden devices? Gorvek waved his hand like he did not care. It is probably just human biology. They are a strange species. Do not worry about it. But Zexhai was right to worry. The strange readings were not coming from any device. They were coming from Minho himself. Humans had something that most aliens did not understand. They had learned to fight and survive in ways that other species could not imagine. As the ship flew away from Kepler 442b, Minho was already making plans. He had studied the ship's systems, and he knew its weak points. More importantly, he knew something the aliens did not know. He knew what happened to creatures who hurt human children. His parents had told him stories about other species who had tried to harm humans in the past. Those species did not exist anymore. The aliens thought they had caught a helpless child. They had no idea they had just signed their own death warrant. Soon every human in the galaxy would know what had happened. And when humans found out that someone had taken one of their children, they would not stop until they got him back. The hunt was about to begin. 3 hours after the kidnapping, An Ji-woo was drinking coffee on his trading ship when his communication system started making loud warning sounds. Ji-woo was a human trader who bought and sold goods between different planets. He was good at his job because he paid attention to everything that happened around him. The warning sounds meant someone was sending an emergency message on all frequencies. Ji-woo put down his coffee and listened carefully. This is Lee Do-hyun on Kepler 442b. My son has been kidnapped by Vorthak raiders. The boy is 12 years old. Human child taken by aliens. Repeat, human child taken by aliens. Ji-woo's blood turned cold. He knew what this meant. Every human in the galaxy would get this message soon. When humans heard that one of their children was in danger, they would do things that scared other species. Ji-woo quickly started his ship's engines and began looking for the Vorthak raider ship. His scanner showed a ship leaving the Kepler system about the right time. The ship was moving toward the outer rim where pirates like to hide. Ji-woo opened his communication system and tried to call the alien ship. Vorthak vessel, this is human. Trader An Ji-woo. You need to listen to me very carefully. On the raider ship, Gorvek heard the call but ignored it. Another human trying to make deals, he said to his crew. They are all soft and weak. But Teknar was getting more worried. The ship's sensors kept giving strange readings about the human boy. Also, their communication system was receiving many messages from different places. Too many messages. Captain, I think we should listen to that human trader, Teknar said. Why? Gorvek asked. He probably wants to buy the boy from us. Humans stick together, but they are not dangerous. Ji-woo kept trying to call them. Please respond. You do not understand what you have done. Return the child now, and maybe you can survive this. The aliens laughed when they heard this. Survive? Humans were not warriors. They were soft creatures who lived comfortable lives on safe planets, but their ship's computer was working on something else. The computer was trying to identify exactly what kind of creature they had captured. The scanner had taken detailed readings of the boy, and now the computer was checking those readings against its database. In the ship's small prison room, Minho was still studying the alien technology around him. He had figured out how the lock worked, but he was not ready to escape yet. First, he needed to learn more about the ship. Minho was also doing something the aliens did not know about. He was very slowly damaging some of the ship's systems. His parents had taught him how different alien technologies worked. He knew which parts were important and which parts he could break without the aliens noticing right away. Every few minutes, Minho would touch a wire or move a small component. The changes were tiny, but they would add up over time. Soon, the ship would start having problems. Meanwhile, the messages on the communication system were getting more frequent. Ships all over the galaxy were asking the same questions. Have you seen Vorthak raiders? Do you have information about a kidnapped human child? HFY was monitoring the communications, and he was getting scared. Captain, there are a lot of humans looking for us. More humans than I have ever seen working together. So what? Gorvek said. There are not many humans in the galaxy. They are a small species. But HFY had been checking the numbers, and what he found made him sick with fear. Captain, that is not true. Humans have colonies on over 300 worlds. They have thousands of ships, and all of them are looking for us. For the first time, Gorvek felt a little worried. That cannot be right. Check the numbers again. While HFY was checking, the ship's main computer finally finished its identification of the human boy. The results appeared on the main screen, and when Theknar read them, he could not believe what he saw. Captain, Theknar called out in a shaking voice. You need to see this. Gorvek walked over to the computer screen. What he saw there made his 4 hearts stop beating for a moment. Species: Homo sapiens. Classification: Apex predator species. Threat level: maximum warning. Do not engage. Warning: do not harm offspring. Note: this species has eliminated several other species that threatened their young. Recommend immediate withdrawal from any contact. This has to be wrong, Gorvek said, but his voice was not confident anymore. The computer continued showing more information. Human response to offspring threat. Complete mobilization of all available military resources. Suspension of all other activities until offspring recovered. Historical record shows 100% success rate in offspring recovery species that have harmed human offspring. 0% survival rate. Theknar read the last line again to make sure he understood it correctly. 0% survival rate. That meant every species that had ever hurt a human child was now extinct. Captain, Theknar said slowly, I think we have made a very big mistake. At that moment, An Ji-woo's voice came through the communication system again. This time, he sounded different. His voice was cold and hard. Vorthak ship, this is your last chance. I am sending you data files about what happens to aliens who hurt human children. Look at the files, then return the boy. Gorvek's hands were shaking as he opened the data files. The first file was about a species called the Kelthon Empire. 50 years ago, some Kelthon pirates had killed a human family, including 2 children. The file showed what happened next. Every human military ship in the galaxy had hunted down the Kelthon. It took 6 months, but the humans found every Kelthon world, every Kelthon ship, every Kelthon base. The Kelthon Empire had billions of citizens and a powerful military. Now, there were 0 Kelthon left alive in the entire galaxy. The second file was about the Drex Confederacy. They had captured some human children to use as slaves. The humans responded by destroying every Drex world and every Drex ship. The war lasted 2 years. No Drex survived. There were 12 more files, 14 different species that had hurt human children. All of them were now extinct. Theknar looked at Gorvek with wide, frightened eyes. Captain, what have we done? Gorvek stared at the computer screen. Slowly, he began to understand the terrible truth. They had not captured a helpless child from a weak species. They had taken the offspring of the most dangerous predators in the galaxy, and now those predators were coming for them. The emergency message from Lee Do-hyun reached Earth Command in less than 4 hours. Admiral Kim Tae-hyung was in a meeting about trade routes when his assistant ran into the room with a red emergency folder. "Sir, we have a code red situation. A human child has been kidnapped by aliens." The room became completely silent. Everyone knew what code red meant. All other business stopped immediately when a human child was in danger. Admiral Kim opened the folder and read quickly. His face became hard as stone. "How long ago?" "4 hours, sir. The boy's name is Kim Min-ho, age 12, taken from Kepler 442b by Vorthak raiders." Kim Tae-hyung stood up and walked to the big communication panel on the wall. He pressed the red button that connected him to every human military base in the galaxy. "This is Admiral Kim Tae-hyung. Code Red is now active. A human child has been taken by hostile aliens. All ships, all bases, all personnel are now assigned to one mission: bring our child home. Every human ship in space will join the search. Every human base will provide support. We do not stop until the boy is safe." Within minutes, the message reached every human world. On Mars, General Park Ji-hyun ordered all patrol ships to join the search. On Alpha Centauri, Commander Lee Heron sent every available scout ship toward the outer rim. On the colony world of New Seoul, Captain Song Min-jae left port with a full battle group, but the most dangerous response came from an unexpected place. Yoo Hye-jin was Kim Min-ho's older sister. She was 18 years old and worked as an engineer on a research ship near the Vega system. Hye-jin was very smart, even for a human. She had built new types of engines and weapons that her commanders said were impossible. When Hye-jin got the message about her little brother, she did not ask permission from anyone. She took the fastest experimental ship in the research station and left immediately. The ship was not supposed to be used without approval, but Hye-jin did not care about rules right now. Her ship was called the Storm Chaser. It had engines that could move faster than any other ship in the galaxy. It also had weapons that could punch holes through the strongest armor. Hye-jin had built these things herself. As she flew toward the Kepler system, Hye-jin sent a message to every human ship. "This is Yoo Hye-jin. The kidnapped boy is my brother. I am tracking the raiders. Any ship that helps me will have my thanks. Any ship that gets in my way will be destroyed." Back on the raider ship, Gorvek was learning that his problems were getting worse very quickly. The communications were now full of human voices, and all of them were talking about finding one small raider ship. "Captain," Zexhai reported, "I am seeing human ships coming from every direction. There are more ships than our scanners can count." Gorvek looked at the scanner display. The screen showed dozens of red dots, all moving toward their position. Each red dot was a human ship. Some were military warships, some were trading ships, some were private vessels. But they were all coming for the same reason. "How many ships?" Gorvek asked. "I stopped counting at 200, Captain. They are coming from every human world in this part of the galaxy." Theknar checked their own position. "Captain, we need to run. We need to run right now." But Gorvek was starting to understand something. Terrible. The humans were not just chasing them randomly. The human ships were moving in a pattern like they were herding the raider ship towards something. "They are not just chasing us," Gorvek said quietly. "They are pushing us somewhere. But where?" The answer came from an unexpected source. In his prison room, Min-ho had been listening to the ship's communications. He could understand the alien language because his parents had taught him. When he heard his sister's voice on the radio, he smiled for the first time since being captured. Min-ho knew his sister very well. Hye-jin was the smartest person he knew, and she was also the most dangerous when she was angry. The aliens had no idea what was coming for them, but Min-ho also knew something else. His parents had taught him about human military tactics. When humans wanted to capture someone, they did not just chase them. They herded their target toward a trap. Min-ho began to work faster on the ship's systems. His small sabotage efforts were starting to have effects. The ship's engines were running less efficiently. The navigation system was giving small errors. The weapons were not charging properly. The aliens had not noticed these problems yet, but they would soon. Meanwhile, Commander Choi Hansel was leading a fleet of 30 human warships toward the raiders' position. Hansel was known as one of the best tactical commanders in the human defense force. He had fought in the border wars against 3 different alien species, and he had never lost a battle. But this was different. This was not a war between governments. This was personal. Someone had taken a human child, and that meant every human in the galaxy was now at war with the kidnappers. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we have contact with over 400 human ships now. More are joining every hour." "Good," Hansel said. "Have all ships report their positions. I want to make sure our target cannot escape." The communications officer looked confused. "Sir, escape to where? We have ships coming from every direction." Hansel smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Exactly. The aliens are about to learn an important lesson about human tactics. When you threaten our children, there is nowhere in the galaxy you can hide." On the raider ship, the aliens were beginning to panic. Their scanner now showed more than 500 human ships, and the number was still growing. "Captain," Theknar said with fear in his voice, "I think we should surrender. Maybe if we give back the boy, the humans will let us live." But Gorvek had been reading more files about humans, and what he learned made him shake with terror. "Look at this," he said, pointing to his computer screen. "When the Kelthon Empire surrendered and gave back the human children they had taken, do you know what the humans did?" "What?" Theknar asked. "They thanked the Kelthon for returning the children. Then they killed every Kelthon in the galaxy anyway. Humans do not forgive. They do not forget. When you hurt their children, surrender does not save you." The truth was sinking in. The aliens had not just made a mistake. They had committed what humans considered the worst crime possible, and the punishment for that crime was always the same: death. The Vorthak raider ship was now running for its life, but the aliens were learning that running from humans was like trying to run from death itself. No matter which direction they turned, human ships appeared on their scanners. Captain Gorvek ordered his pilot to head for the Vorthan Nebula, a dangerous area of space filled with gas clouds and radiation. Most ships avoided the nebula because it was easy to get lost and hard to see clearly. Gorvek hoped they could hide there, but the humans had already thought of this. Commander Song Minjae was waiting at the edge of the nebula with 12 scout ships. Song was famous among humans for his patience and tracking skills. He could follow a target for days without losing them. "Sir," his scanner operator reported, "the alien ship is entering the nebula." Song smiled coldly. "Perfect. They think they can hide from us. Let them learn how wrong they are." Song had been hunting dangerous creatures since he was a teenager. He had tracked pirates through asteroid fields, followed smugglers across 3 star systems, and found hidden bases that others said were impossible to locate. Tracking one alien ship through a nebula would be easy. "All ships, spread out," Song ordered. "Watch every exit from the nebula. If they try to leave, we will know about it immediately." Inside the nebula, the raider ship was having more problems. The radiation was making their sensors work poorly. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was that Minho's sabotage was starting to have serious effects. The ship's engines were making strange noises. The life support system was running too hot. The navigation computer kept giving wrong directions. The aliens did not know why these problems were happening, but they were getting scared. "Captain," Zex High reported, "our engines are losing power. We might have to stop for repairs." "We cannot stop," Gorvek said. "The humans will find us." But they were already found. Song Minjae's ships had special sensors that could see through the nebula's gas clouds. The humans were watching every move the raiders made. "Target is moving toward Sector 7, Song reported to his fleet. "Engines appear to be failing. They will have to stop soon." What the aliens did not know was that stopping would not help them. Humans had been preparing for this moment for hours. Every human ship in this part of the galaxy was moving toward the nebula. On Earth, Admiral Kim Tae-young was coordinating the largest human military operation in 50 years. Ships from every human colony were joining the hunt. The Admiral was getting reports every few minutes. Sir, the 5th Fleet from New Tokyo is approaching the target area. Sir, the Colonial Defense Force from Kepler Prime is in position. Sir, we now have over 800 ships involved in the search. 800 ships, all for one 12-year-old boy. Other alien species who were watching this operation were beginning to understand something terrifying about humans. When a human child was in danger, the entire human race became a weapon. Back in the nebula, the raider ship finally had to stop. Their engines were making loud grinding noises, and smoke was coming from several control panels. The aliens had no choice but to try to make repairs. "How long will the repairs take?" Gorvek asked his engineer. "At least 6 hours, Captain. Maybe more. Something is wrong with many systems, but I cannot find the problem." Gorvek did not know that the problem was sitting in their prison room, quietly breaking one system after another. Minho had been very careful. He only damaged things that would not hurt him, but would make the ship unable to fight or run away. While the aliens worked on their repairs, human ships were surrounding the entire nebula. But the humans were not in a hurry. They knew the aliens could not escape, so they took their time and did everything correctly. This frightened other alien species who were watching. When most species fought, they attacked quickly and tried to win fast. But humans were different. When humans hunted something, they were patient. They planned everything carefully. They made sure their target had no way to escape before they attacked. A Zolonian trade ship was passing through the area when its captain saw the human fleet. The captain, named Veltar, had never seen so many human ships in one place. "How many ships are there?" Veltar asked his crew. "Over 1,000 now, sir. And more are coming." Veltar felt cold fear in his stomach. What could make humans send so many ships to one place? "I heard on the communications that someone kidnapped a human child," his communications officer said. Veltar stared at his officer. "One child? All of this is for one child?" "Yes, sir." Veltar quickly ordered his ship to leave the area as fast as possible. He did not want to be anywhere near humans when they were angry about one of their children. Meanwhile, a new voice appeared on the communication channels. It was calm and cold, and it made the aliens on the raider ship shake with fear. "This is Nam Soo-jin, Human Diplomatic Service. I am speaking to the Vorthak raiders who have taken our child." Gorvek grabbed the communication device. Maybe he could negotiate with this human diplomat. "This is Captain Gorvek. We want to make a deal." "There will be no deal," Nam Soo-jin said in the same cold voice. "I am not calling to negotiate. I am calling to educate you. Do you know what happened to the Kelthon Empire?" "Yes," Gorvek said quietly. "Do you know what happened to the Drex Confederacy?" "Yes." "Do you know what happened to the Morgantine Coalition when they captured human children for their slave markets?" Gorvek's voice was barely a whisper. "They were all destroyed." "Correct. Every adult, every child, every planet, every ship. Complete extinction. And do you know why?" Gorvek could not speak. Nam Soo-jin continued. "Because there is one rule in this galaxy that no species is allowed to break. You do not harm human children, ever. The species that forget this rule do not exist anymore." "We have not harmed the boy," Gorvek said desperately. "That does not matter now. You took him. That is enough. Do you see the ships around you?" Gorvek looked at his scanner. The display showed red dots everywhere. Hundreds and hundreds of human ships, all pointed at his location. "Those ships represent 1/3 of the human military," Nam Soo-jin said. "And more are coming. We will keep adding ships until we have every human vessel in the galaxy. All for one child. Do you understand what this means?" Gorvek understood. It meant that humans valued their children more than anything else in the universe. It meant that threatening a human child brought the wrath of the entire human species. It meant that he and his crew were already dead. "Please," Gorvek begged, "we will return the boy. We will never bother humans again." "Yes, you will return him," Namsujin said, "but that will not save you. Nothing can save you now. You have learned the most important lesson in the galaxy. Humans do not negotiate when their children are threatened. We do not forgive. We do not forget. We simply destroy." The communication ended, leaving the aliens alone with their fear and the knowledge that they had made the last mistake of their lives. The Vorthak raiders discovered that hiding in the nebula had been a trap. The humans had not been trying to catch them quickly. Instead, the humans had been herding them exactly where they wanted them to go, toward the Sol system, the heart of human space. When the raider ship's engines finally died completely, they were only 2 hours away from Earth itself. This was the most dangerous place in the galaxy for anyone who had hurt a human child. "Captain," Theknar said in a shaking voice, "we are receiving a transmission from Sol Command." Gorvek knew this was the end. Sol Command meant they were talking to the leaders of all human military forces. "Put it on the main screen." The screen showed a human in a dark blue uniform covered with medals. His name tag read Admiral Kim Tae-young, and his eyes were as cold as space itself. "I am Admiral Kim Tae-young, Commander of Earth Defense Forces," the human said. "You are now in Sol system space. This is the most protected area in the galaxy. You have brought a kidnapped human child into our home system. This was a very bad decision." Behind the Admiral, the raiders could see other humans working at control stations. All of them looked calm and professional, but there was something terrifying about their calmness. These humans were not angry or excited. They were simply doing their job, and their job was to destroy anyone who hurt human children. "Sir," one of the aliens on the raider ship whispered, "Look at the scanner." Gorvek looked at the display and felt his heart stop. The scanner showed thousands of red dots, thousands of human ships all around them. There were small fighter ships, medium, patrol ships, large battle cruisers, and massive dreadnought warships. The entire human military seemed to be gathered in one place. "How many ships?" Gorvek asked. "The scanner stops counting at 5,000, Captain. There might be more." Admiral Kim continued speaking. "You see our fleet. This represents about half of our total military strength. The other half is still coming. We have called back ships from every human world, every human colony, every human outpost. All for one child." The Admiral paused and looked directly at the camera. "Do you understand what this means? It means that when someone threatens our children, we stop everything else. We stop all trade, all exploration, all other military operations. Every human ship, every human soldier, every human weapon focuses on one goal: protecting our young." On the raider ship, Zexhai was monitoring communications from other alien species. What he heard made him even more frightened. "Captain, the other alien governments are talking about us. They are all saying the same thing." "What are they saying?" Gorvek asked. "They are telling each other to stay away from this system. Some species are canceling all contact with humans until this is over. They are afraid that if they get too close, the humans might think they are helping us." This was true. Across the galaxy, alien governments were watching the human response with shock and terror. Never before had they seen an entire species mobilize like this for just one individual. The Centauri Trade Federation had canceled all meetings with human diplomats. The Rigel Mining Consortium had stopped all business with human companies. The Vega Colonial Alliance had moved their ships away from human space. Every alien species was afraid that humans might see them as enemies. But the most frightening thing was what the humans were not doing. They were not making angry speeches. They were not making threats. They were just quietly, efficiently, gathering the largest military force the galaxy had ever seen. At that moment, another voice came over the communication system. This voice was different from the Admiral's. It was quieter, but somehow more dangerous. "This is Lee Do-hyun. I am the father of the boy you kidnapped." Gorvek felt ice in his veins. This was the child's father, the human who had lost his son. "I want to speak to my boy," Lee Do-hyun said. The aliens looked at each other. They were afraid to refuse, but they were also afraid to agree. Finally, Gorvek decided he had no choice. "Bring the human child to the communication room," he ordered. A few minutes later, Minho was brought to where the communication equipment was located. When he saw his father's face on the screen, he smiled. "Hi, Dad. I am okay. These aliens are not very smart, but they have not hurt me." Lee Do-hyun's face showed relief, but his voice stayed calm. "I am glad you are safe, son. Are you ready to come home?" "Yes, Dad. I am ready." Lee Do-hyun looked directly at Captain Gorvek. "You have 60 seconds to put my son in an escape pod and launch it toward our ships. If you do this, my son will be safe." "And then what happens to us?" Gorvek asked. Lee Do-hyun's expression did not change. "Then you will learn what happens to creatures who take human children." "But we did not hurt him," Gorvek said desperately. "That does not matter. You took him from his family. You frightened him. You made his mother cry. You made me fear for my child's life. The punishment for these crimes is death." Minho looked at the aliens around him. For the first time since being captured, he spoke to them directly. "You should do what my father says," Minho said in their own language, surprising them. "My father is not the one you should be afraid of. My sister is coming, and she is much more dangerous than he is." "Your sister?" Teknar asked. "Yu Hyejin. She built weapons that can destroy entire fleets, and she is very angry with you." As if Minho had called her, a new voice came over the communication system. This voice was young, but it carried a promise of violence that made the aliens shake. "This is Yu Hyejin. You have my little brother. I want him back. You have 30 seconds to release him, or I will show you why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Admiral Kim's voice came back on the communication system. "Captain Gorvek, you now have a choice. You can release the boy and die quickly when we destroy your ship, or you can keep him and die slowly when Hyejin gets her hands on you. She has been working on new weapons, and she wants to test them on you." Gorvek looked around at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for his decision. But he knew there was really no choice at all. "Prepare the escape pod," he said quietly. As the aliens prepared to release Minho, they could see more and more human ships appearing on their scanners. The humans had gathered the largest military force in galactic history. All of it pointed at one small raider ship, all of it ready to destroy anyone who hurt their child. Minho's escape pod flew safely toward the human fleet, and within minutes he was aboard his sister's ship, the Storm Chaser. Yu Hyejin hugged her little brother tightly, but her eyes never stopped watching the Vorthak raider ship on her scanner. "Are you hurt?" she asked Minho. "No, they did not hurt me. But Hyejin, you should know something. I broke many of their ship's systems while I was there. The ship is not working properly." Hyejin smiled proudly. "That is my smart little brother. But it does not matter now. They still took you from our family." Back on the raider ship, Captain Gorvek and his crew waited for death. They had released the human child, but they knew this would not save them. The humans had made it very clear that taking the child was enough to earn complete destruction. "Captain," Teknar said quietly, "maybe we should surrender completely. Maybe if we beg for mercy." "Did you not listen to what the humans told us?" Gorvek replied. "They do not give mercy to anyone who threatens their children." "Never." The alien was right. On thousands of human ships surrounding them, commanders were preparing weapons and waiting for orders. Admiral Kim Tae-hyung was about to give the command to destroy the raider ship when something unexpected happened. A communication came in from the Galactic Council, the organization that made laws for most species in the galaxy. The council's leader, Ambassador Kethvar, appeared on the admiral's screen. Admiral Kim, this is Ambassador Kethvar. The Galactic Council requests that you turn over the Vorthak raiders to us for trial. Admiral Kim looked at the alien ambassador with cold eyes. No. Admiral, the Council has authority over crimes that happen between different species. These raiders should be tried in our courts. Ambassador, Admiral Kim said calmly, these aliens committed a crime against a human child. That means they committed a crime against all humans. We do not give our enemies to other species for judgment. Ambassador Kethvar tried to argue. But Admiral, surely the death penalty is too harsh for kidnapping when the child was not harmed. Admiral, Kim was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in a voice that made every alien listening feel cold fear. Ambassador, let me explain something to you and to every species that is listening to this conversation. When someone takes a human child, they declare war on all humans. We do not see this as a crime to be punished. We see it as an act of war to be answered with complete destruction. The Admiral paused and looked directly at the camera. Every species in this galaxy needs to understand this. Human children are not to be touched, not to be threatened, not to be harmed, not to be taken. Ever. Any species that forgets this rule will not exist anymore. Other alien species listening to this conversation felt terror they had never known before. The humans were not angry or emotional. They were simply explaining facts, like a teacher explaining mathematics. This made their words even more frightening. Meanwhile, on the raider ship, the aliens were hearing all of this conversation. They now understood that they had not just made a mistake. They had broken the most important rule in the galaxy. Sir, Zexhai said to Captain Gorvek, I am receiving messages from our home government. What do they say? Gorvek asked. They say we are no longer citizens of the Vorthak Empire. They say they have no connection to us. They say they hope the humans kill us quickly. Even their own government had abandoned them. The Vorthak Empire was so afraid of human anger that they were pretending the raiders did not exist. This was happening all over the galaxy. Every alien government was making the same choice. Stay as far away from this situation as possible and hope the humans did not blame them for what the raiders had done. At that moment, Lee Do-hyun's voice came over the communication system. One last time. Captain Gorvek, you took my son from his family. You made him afraid. You made us afraid. Now you will learn what happens when you make humans afraid for their children. Please, Gorvek begged. We are sorry. We did not know. Not knowing is not an excuse, Lee Do-hyun replied. Every species in the galaxy knows not to harm human children. You chose to ignore this knowledge. Now you will pay the price. Admiral, Kim gave the final order. All ships, prepare to fire. But before the humans could destroy the raider ship, something strange happened. The ship began to fall apart by itself. All of Minho's sabotage finally took effect at the same time. Engines exploded, life support failed, and the ship broke into pieces. The aliens died not from human weapons, but from the quiet, careful work of a 12-year-old boy who had been smarter than his captors. When it was over, Admiral Kim sent a message to every government in the galaxy. This is Admiral Kim Tae-hyung of the Human Defense Forces. Today, aliens kidnapped a human child. Today, those aliens died. Let this be a lesson to every species. Humans protect their children above all else. Any species that threatens our young will face the same fate. The message was received by hundreds of alien governments, and within hours, every one of them sent back the same response. Understood. We will ensure this message is shared with all our citizens. But the real change came from what happened next. Dr. Bae Subin, Earth's chief diplomat, called a meeting of the Galactic Council. When the meeting began, she made an announcement that changed galactic politics forever. The human response to this kidnapping was considered restrained by our standards, Dr. Bae said calmly. The alien ambassadors stared at her in shock. Restrained? The humans had mobilized thousands of ships and nearly started a galactic war. How could this be restrained? If these raiders had actually harmed our child, Dr. Bay continued, we would have considered that an act of war against all humans. We would have responded by destroying not just the raiders, but their entire species, their government, and any species that supported them. The aliens in the meeting felt sick with fear. The humans had brought thousands of ships for one kidnapped child who was not even hurt. What would they do if a child was actually harmed? Dr. Bay answered their question. When the Kelthon Empire killed human children 50 years ago, we destroyed every Kelthon world and every Kelthon ship. That was also considered a restrained response. A full human military response has never been seen, because no species has been foolish enough to require it. One brave alien ambassador asked, "What would a full response look like?" Dr. Bay smiled, but her smile was colder than space itself. You do not want to know, and you never want to find out. After the meeting, every alien government updated their official records about humans. The new files all said the same thing. Species, Homo sapiens. Do not engage in hostilities. Do not threaten. Do not harm offspring under any circumstances. Violation of these protocols may result in species extinction. This is not a threat. This is a fact. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. In a universe full of dangerous creatures, the most dangerous thing you could possibly do was make a human parent angry. From that day forward, human children were the safest beings in the galaxy. No. Alien would even look at them in a way that might seem threatening. The price of learning about human protective instincts had been too high for anyone to risk paying it again. And somewhere in the galaxy, Omina, a galactic historian, wrote the final entry in her report about the incident. The Kepler awakening showed the galaxy what humans truly are. Not just another species, but the ultimate protectors of their young. Today we learned that threatening a human child does not just anger humans. It awakens something in them that is older and more dangerous than anything else in the galaxy. It awakens the primal instinct that made them the apex predators of their home world. And once awakened, that instinct does not rest until every threat to their children is eliminated forever.